Today, I'm watching The Twilight Zone, Season 1, Episode 2. I was obsessed with the first episode. I'm very excited to continue watching and see where this series goes. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm finally watching it, and I'm still thinking about the first episode. It was so well done, and I feel like this is a show you're still thinking about days, if not weeks later, trying to process. The concept is really great, and we did have a little preview at the end of the first episode with our host, Rod Serling, who also wrote the episode, which I was not expecting, and he mentioned this toy, this little astronaut toy, and his competition was death. So I'm very worried going into this. It does sound like it's going to be more supernatural. We didn't have a lot of supernatural elements in the first episode. It was people conducting experiments on other people, which is just horrible, and this concept of loneliness and how long a person can survive, without human contact, basically. And yeah, definitely a big concept. And I'm very curious to go into this next episode. So thank you so much for sharing and this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man.
I'm curious when the floating door image comes into the title sequence. I really like this as well, but I feel like this is an iconic piece of the Twilight Zone.
Hot July. A nondescript, commonplace little man whose life is a treadmill built out of sidewalks.
And who's this guy behind him spying on him?
As of 3 o'clock this hot July afternoon, he'll be stalked by Mr. Death.
Breaks the fourth wall. Mr. Death cuts to camera. Oh my god. Well, that's convenient. Everything just folds up into a suitcase and off he goes. See you later, off to his next spot to sell. Oh, hello, Mr. Death.
Bookman, mother Flora Bookman. Father's place of birth, Detroit, Michigan. Mother's place of birth, Syracuse, New York, right?
He's like, how did you get all this information for me?
Now, today is the 19th of July, and your departure is at midnight tonight.
Is this supposed to be like a Grim Reaper character? Like he's gonna die?
I'd introduce you to, only I don't know your name.
No need.
I think I got it now, Lou.
I don't think the little girl can see him.
You'd ask me a lot of questions.
What gentleman?
Yeah, I think it's only for him. Dun 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 dun. It's not her time yet.
It works great now, Lou. Thanks an awful lot. See you after supper, huh?
Well, now, wait a minute.
He's like, I've got till midnight.
Mr. Bookman, only those who are to accompany me can see me.
That's you, Lou.
I think you'd better start making your arrangements.
At least he gives you a warning, I guess?
Your departure.
My departure.
Tick-tock. From the planet.
We're not permitted to forewarn them. You, Mr. Bookman, fall into the category of natural causes.
That's good, I guess? Silver lining?
That you're dishonest. Number 3, why don't you say what you mean?
Mr. Bookman, I've done everything but phone your own undertaker. How much?
Yeah, I mean, he's spelling it out for you, buddy. As he kills the flower. His name is also Mr. Death. I feel like he's spelling it out for you here, buddy.
Maybe, but departure time is set for midnight, and departure will be midnight.
Don't I have anything to say about that?
I don't think so.
Do listen to appeals, but frankly, Mr. Bookman, there's very little here in the way of an extenuating circumstance.
I mean, yeah, he's got...
Second category is priority cases, statesmen, scientists, men on the verge of discoveries.
That's so interesting. Yeah, the ways you can appeal your death with his toys. Oh, he seems like such a nice guy.
Well, you don't have any unfinished business, do you, Mr. Bookman?
Ah, but I do. Indeed, I do. That's it, you see, yes.
And I like that he gets to negotiate with death. They're like, midnight, you'll go in your sleep, everything's gonna be fine, make your arrangements now, and he just doesn't want to go, obviously.
In a helicopter, that's it.
Insufficient, Mr. Bookman.
But yeah, like statesmen and scientists would get to live longer, people on the verge of discovery, or, you know, families.
And you keep popping up in corners of the room that I've never even seen before. Will you please stay in one place? War dance. Now, that's the answer right there. See, you'll have to give me a couple of months and let me go over there to that Zulu country. And
He's trying to find reasons to stay alive. Like, these are things I wanted to do and I haven't done.
a great deal to me. It would mean that for one moment in my whole life, I would have done something successful.
Oh, this poor guy. My heart.
Maybe the children would be very proud of me.
Oh, stop.
Succeed in a given professional venture is really hardly of a major...
Is he feeling bad for him now?
deal to you, does it?
He's like, I just want to be successful. Like, I just want one shot.
Oh, thank
Now,
you.
about this pitch, Mr. Bookman, when might we expect it?
When?
He's like, well, I'm going to delay as long as possible, obviously.
Maybe not for a couple of years yet, but soon.
Mr. Bookman, I have the very odd feeling that you're taking advantage of me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely he is. shuts the door in his face. Yeah, obviously.
Bitch anymore. You think you can fool me, eh? I'll hardly open my mouth from now on.
He's like, I'm not going to pitch anything. Yeah, I don't think you can outsmart him.
Serious than you imagine.
He's like, wait a minute.
It's much more complex than you realize.
Just keeps popping up everywhere. He's like, you had, you know, an okay deal. I gave you time. You knew what was going to happen. And he said, yeah, not everybody gets that opportunity. It's just lurking in every corner. And of course, the contrast of Lou being in this all white suit. I know it's black and white, but, you know, Mr. Death in all black, of course, in that juxtaposition. Oh, no. I'm guessing it was one of the kids. Oh, no. I got goosebumps. That's grim. He's like, fine, you chose to stay, but I'm taking another one.
She jumped right off the curb and I never had no chance.
Oh, my gosh.
No chance to stop at all.
Was it someone sent for a doctor? Get an ambulance.
I'll go.
Oh, this poor girl. He's like, I'm not messing around. I told you somebody was coming. Aww. The little girl with her toy.
Lou?
Yeah?
Lou, who's that man?
Remember, he said he can only see those he's taking, so...
Do you see him?
Yes, Lou.
It's like, I'll just put that in my book. Lou, you had your chance. Oh, my God.
Wait a minute. You can't take her. No, sirree, you can't take her. Now, listen, I'll go.
Oh, that's so sad.
I don't even want to wait. I'll go right now.
You had your chance.
I'll go with you at...
Oh, no, I have so many goosebumps. This poor little girl.
Little girl, but we'll know soon. She should hit a crisis by midnight.
By midnight.
I think by then.
That's the time he was supposed to go. Obviously he didn't know this was going to happen, but
I won't let him come in.
he negotiated for himself, and here we are. I feel like he's going to be able to find a way in if he really wants to. That's such a cool shot of the street with the light and the shadow, though, and even the way he's sitting with, like, the... Oh, there he is, yep.
That would be pretty much unheard of. You see, if I didn't get in there at precisely midnight, then the whole timetable would be upset.
Timetable, you say? All right.
Bitch, that's all.
At this time of night?
Oh, I very often have a late sale. Very often.
I love how everything is just so compartmentalized in his little suitcase, his little briefcase
They'll
here.
come around. You're here anyway.
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Is he going to try and sell to him and stall him?
A simulated silk, so fabulously conceived as to mystify even the ancient Chinese silk.
He's going to get caught up in the sale. He's going to miss his time. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
To detail.
Mr. Death is like, it's black and only black, sir. I shall not be wearing any patterns. I like this Lou character. But I feel like Mr. Death is going to be very annoyed.
A demonstration of tensile strength.
I see a kitten. Here, play with a string. Play with it. What's this? It's shiny.
And delicate as shantung silk. Picture, if you will, 300 years of fact-breaking research.
Oh, man, he's got 10 minutes. This poor girl.
Would you pay $30 a spool? 25, 20, 10? Or, well, very well, you might, sir, if you were trying to...
He's a heck of a salesman, I'll give him that.
But this fantastic thread is not available in stores. It is smuggled in by Oriental birds, especially...
What? What?
Throats. It takes 832 crossings to supply enough thread to go around one spool.
He's a storyteller, that's for sure.
Not at 5, but at the ridiculously low price of 25 cents a spool.
I'll take all you have.
I don't want to lose money on this deal. They're flown in by birds, one piece at a time, under their necks. Are you joking me?
Will fit any standard radio, suntan oil, eczema powder, razors, athlete's feet destroyer. How about...
He's selling snake oil to Mr. Devil, or Mr. Death.
All right.
He's like, just give me everything.
How's that?
For what I ask, you shall receive a willing, capable, worldly, highly sophisticated...
He's gonna sell himself. It's like he's got him on his hook. Like, let's just keep selling.
...to you with an absolute guarantee, all parts interchangeable, with a certificate of 4 years serviceability. I challenge any other store, wholesale house, or industry to even come close to matching what I offer you here.
His plan seemed to be working.
It's midnight. It's midnight and I've missed my appointment.
He's like, yep, gotcha. That was the whole plan. This little girl. Oh.
Give her the sedatives every 3 hours, Mrs. Polanski. She'll be all right. She just needs a lot of rest now.
Polanski?
He missed my appointment.
Thank God.
A most persuasive pitch, Mr. Bookman. An excellent pitch.
Oh, who was tricking who? He did get him to pitch. Yep, that's exactly what they wanted.
The pitch I always wanted to make. A big one. A pitch so big that the sky would open up.
And here we go. Yep.
That's right, a pitch for the angels.
Well, bye, Mr. Bookman. Who was tricking who? Oh, my God.
Excuse me, I forgot something. I'll be back in a minute.
I thought he was just doing it to distract him, but he's
You
like...
never know who might need something up there. Up there?
Up there, Mr. Bookman. You made it.
Oh, that would have been a real grim ending if he was like, hate to break it to you, but...
Formerly a rather minor component to a hot July. But throughout his life, a man beloved by the children.
Oh.
A most important man.
As the two of them just walk off together.
Serie stars in Mr. Denton on Doomsday, next week on the Twilight Zone. We hope you'll be able to be with us. Thank you, and good night.
I love these little previews at the end. They're so fun. Nobody does that anymore. Again, written by Rod Serling. Okay. Was he a writer before this? Like, was this his first time writing? I don't know. So that was my first time watching The Twilight Zone, Season 1, Episode 2. I really enjoyed this episode. I did like the first one a little bit better, but this was still a really great episode. And written by Rod. I did say Serling, and I realized in the credits that there's no T, so Rod Serling. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly now. And yeah, again, he wrote it, and we had that same end preview for the next episode, this like Western style. So I'm very curious to check that out. But this episode was just so heartwarming, but also a little spooky, and some, I don't even want to say like supernatural elements, but this concept that you could talk to, you know, Mr. Death, the Grim Reaper, and, you know, of course, him being all in black for the episode, and Lou Bookman being all in white, you know, that contrast, good versus evil, and also the show being filmed in black and white, and, you know, he's the only one who can see him, and that's kind of the giveaway that, like, okay, your time is coming, like, if you can see me, you know, you're nearing the end, basically. And a really great episode, you know, they packed a lot into half an hour and told a lot, and I really feel like we knew Lou's character, and, you know, Mr. Death's character I don't feel like we need to really explain, but we really got to know this man, and the fact that he was so, these kids were so important to him, and he just wanted them to be proud of him. Like, he's almost 70s, obviously didn't make it to his birthday, but the fact that his priorities are just making the neighborhood kids happy, and he's got his toys. And even before he meets Mr. Death, we have that scene where he's kind of puttering around his apartment. He genuinely seemed like a happy-go-lucky guy. He didn't really seem like somebody who was struggling, even though he says he doesn't really have any family or anything like that. And he's selling out of his suitcase, which was such a cool prop. I didn't know things like that actually existed. It had, the suitcase was also a table that folded up, and he had everything that he was selling, his ties and his spool and everything in this suitcase. And the fact that you could negotiate was very interesting, and his 3 reasons. And when he said, like statesmen and scientists and people, of high importance on the brink of discovery, it made me think of throughout history, what would have happened if people would have passed away before they would have had a chance to discover certain things, or, when they did pass away, what else were they meant to discover and stuff like that. So I thought that was a really interesting concept. And, I said, like, if your family is going to be really down on their luck if you're not around, he's like, that doesn't apply. And Lou being the ultimate salesman and just this storyteller too, the speech about the thread and how it's carried in. And I did like that end shot where Mr. Death is kind of like, okay, yeah, like, you thought you were playing me, but I was letting you go on this long speech because this was your pitch, right? You were pitching to me, but this was your big, last pitch. And even when Lou goes back, I didn't know he was going back to get his suitcase. I was like, oh man, he's gonna run, like, he's gonna try and get out of this again. Like, he knows what's gonna happen if they don't take him. Like, somebody else is gonna have to go in his place. And Lou just being this character who is, self-sacrifice for these kids. And he obviously didn't realize that in making his bargain, somebody else would go in his place. And when he finds out it's that little girl, he does everything. He's instantly like, take me instead. And just such a, heartwarming character. And even Mr. Death telling him, like, hey, you've got a pretty good deal here. Like, you've got till midnight, you're going to pass away in your sleep. Like, and the fact that other people wouldn't find out, like people who would just die in accidents and stuff like that. And yeah, I just love like this world building. And obviously like they said, the date was 1960. I feel like that's close to when this would have come out. I know this came out in like the late 50s, early 60s. So, it was present day for them. They're not putting these characters on some faraway planet. They obviously say that this, story takes place in the Twilight Zone, which is the 5th dimension. And, but again, it looks like a regular city. It looks like I think this took place in New York, they said. And, it just looks like a regular day. People are out doing their thing and the kids are playing. And, it makes it easier to imagine yourself in these situations and imagine you relating to these characters, because it's not, some crazy far off planet, and you can see yourself in these characters. And just Lou being such a sweet guy and like so compassionate, and giving his heart into this pitch to sell to Mr. Death, and him buying everything from his suitcase, and even him going back, like Lou being so selfless, even thinking about others on his way to go to heaven. And he just wants to be like, just to make sure I am going, right? Like, he doesn't want to end up somewhere else. And bringing his suitcase because they might need something, like, again, thinking so much of others. And just a really heartwarming episode, which I wasn't expecting given the preview we had from the previous episode where he's like, yeah, he has to, some competition. I thought it was going to be more like a salesman, being very competitive, or the, Mr. Death had another toy that was competing with him or something like that, and they were kind of battling out through their like products, but clearly that was not the case. And, of course, he calls his pitch One for the Angels, and that's what, gets him on his way, and that's, his one big thing, and that he just wanted success. Like, he just wanted to have this one great thing, but of course he wants to, stay alive as long as possible, and is like, oh yeah, give me a couple more years, and closes the door thinking like, that's it, I solved that problem, like, I'll never make a pitch again, like, I'm gonna live for a long time. And obviously that's not how things work. I really like the creativity that's in these concepts and in these stories. And again, I don't know much about the host, if he has a writing background, if he must, because they are so great and really thought out. like I said, I still feel like the first episode was stronger, but this was a great follow-up, and Lou's a character you're rooting for. He's not some villain where you're like, yeah, take this guy, like, let's get him out of here. Like, he's so concerned about everybody else and just wants to live his life and, you know, go about his day. And he wasn't somebody just waiting to, you know, be done with life. He wanted to stay and wanted to, you know, keep doing this. And you could see how much the kids meant to him and how important he was to them as well. And it was just such a wholesome episode, which I wasn't expecting to use that word. Overall, I enjoyed the episode. This concept that you could negotiate with death was interesting. I feel like it was pretty obvious that he was going to be like this Grim Reaper, you know, character all in black. Obviously, his name is also Mr. Death. I feel like that was pretty obvious. And Lou was going to be the one, you know, who's going to pass away. But the twist of having the little girl be replaced, I wasn't expecting. And yeah, it was just a good episode. I really enjoyed it. And just, I love the creativity that goes into this, and not a ton of sci-fi or like supernatural concepts yet. And I'm very curious to find out when we get that like floating door intro, because I feel like that's such an iconic piece that's tied to the show. I know there is lots of episodes of the show and multiple seasons, so maybe it's later on, but I'm really enjoying the show. Thank you so much for sharing and this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. And who's this guy behind him spying on him? Well, that's convenient. Everything just folds up into a suitcase and off he goes. See you later, off to his next spot to sell. As he kills the flower. His name is also Mr. Death. Like, I feel like he's spelling it out for you here, buddy. He's gonna get caught up in the sale. He's gonna miss his time. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's a storyteller, that's for sure.